So I've been enthusiastically and intentionally ignoring the January 6th hearings. I mean, who hasn't? I can't really hear it or pay attention to it over the sound of $100 worth of gas in my car. But recently, something's happened and it caught my attention. Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. This is Keith, and welcome to the Ghetto Sapien channel, your home of inner city intelligence. January 6th trial. What's it all about? So, we know what happened. There was a riot in D.C. on January 6th in 2021. Um, there were no weapons on anyone. They're trying to say it's an insurrection, but okay, so the president, who even then had control of the armed forces, wants to take over the U.S. government by using old ladies and, and his Trump MAGA crowd without any weapons. Unfortunately, one person was shot and killed. It wasn't a cop. It was one of the. It was someone there, just an unarmed lady. She was killed. That was the only fatality there, because again, none of the protesters, none of the supporters of Trump had weapons at all. So that is one weird insurrection without arms, and this is a government that has this armed to the teeth. Even the IRS has guns, so that just sounds kind of stupid on its face. So yeah, that is the January 6th trial hearing in a nutshell. They're just trying to make a riot into an insurrection. People aren't paying any mind. So something recently happened that caught my attention. All of a sudden, I see like schematics of limos, the presidential limo show up in my timeline. What the hell is this about? And it's tied to the January 6th trial. And here's why. Someone went up by the name of Cassidy Hutchinson, and she was she's one of the aides of someone who worked for President Trump. And she had some really groundbreaking and incredibly damaging testimony about Trump. This is like almost, it's over a year, and all of a sudden she comes out of the woodwork. So let's see what she has to say. I'm using the New Yorker magazine because I know they hate Trump. I always try and find something that's either neutral or at least biased against what I want to read. Because you need to seek out other voices and stuff like that, and sometimes it's kind of funny. And this is this guy, John Cassidy, who wrote this, did not disappoint. I guess he doesn't really care for Trump much. So Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony should be the end of Donald Trump. We've heard that so many times before. Home dude put his hand on the Bible during his inaugural. They were saying this is going to be the end of Donald Trump and that he's going to be impeached. And they said that again before he ever was sworn in. So this is just par for the course. So it says, regardless of the legal obstacles to convicting the former president, Hutchinson's testimony confirmed that he must never be allowed anywhere near power. Yeah, all the megalomaniacs in D.C., he's the one who shouldn't be anywhere near power. So anyway, it says on Tuesday morning, Hunter Biden started trending on social media, a surefire sign that the right was worried about the upcoming testimony of former Trump White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson. Well, you think he would kind of just at least talk a little bit about why Hunter Biden's laptop came into focus again, because after Biden spent years denying that he knew anything about Hunter Biden's business deals, and a voicemail, not even an email, but a voicemail with Biden's voice on it, talking about his son and how he was in the clear regarding them doing business dealings with a Chinese spy. So that kind of puts a lie to Joe Biden always saying that he knew nothing about Hunter's business dealings, even though he was on a plane with him flying to China and Ukraine and Russia. I was like, oh, how did Hunter get there? I didn't know about that. Or that bag of money, just kind of shoving it under his seat on the flight. It's just ridiculous. I don't think anyone believed it, but it was just as long as no evidence came out, they could all the reporters and all the supporters could just use plausible deniability, but they can't do it now that there's a recording. So this guy's just trying to brush it off. Anyway, let me not get too far afield here. So it says Cassidy Hutchinson, who was scheduled to begin at 1 p.m., although the 26-year-old Hutchinson, who worked for Mark Meadows, Trump's chief of staff, wasn't a public figure yet. It was known that she had spoken extensively to January 6th committee, and there had been even stories suggesting she would turn out to be the John Dean of the Trump administration. Man, they put so much faith in the Democrats and the left in some of these people who just fall flat on their faces. I think this young lady is going to be no different. So anyway, she goes on, and this is what I really thought was interesting. She's being questioned by the co-committee who swore her in. Why did they swear anyone in when she will never be held in contempt of court, where she won't be held in perjury, she won't face any perjury charges, because there's no cross-examination, there's no one representing Trump there. Even though they do point out Republican Liz Cheney is there, but she's a Republican, not even in name only, because her own state, the Republican leadership of her state just pretty much censured her and said she's no longer Republican as far as they're concerned. Anyway, so Hutchinson calmly described an utterly unhinged president who on January 6th was so determined to join his supporters, many of them armed. Again, they weren't armed. There was no evidence they were armed. And if they were, how did the FBI miss all that? How did the Capitol Police miss all the weapons on thousands of people? Anyway, so he knew well, intent on causing trouble. In their march on Capitol Hill, he tried to grab the steering wheel of the presidential SUV, yelling, "I'm the effing president. Take me up to the Capitol now." When the head of a Secret Service detail grabbed his arm and ordered Trump to return to the White House, he allegedly lunged at the agent's throat. Okay, so that's kind of enough of that. It's just really, the whole thing's unhinged. Look, I can understand Trump being mad. He may have cursed because, for his entire 4 years in office, he's been falsely accused. He was told he was a Russian spy. They had almost 3 years of investigation. Of the Mueller investigation came up with nothing. 97% of the coverage in the media has been negative about him. So you kind of get upset if people have been lying about you constantly and trying to throw you under the bus, your own party sometimes, at least the party leadership. So I could give him that. He must have felt like he was cheated. But grabbing the steering wheel of the limo of the SUV is kind of hard, considering the diagram that this is it right here. It's plexiglass, it's glass, it's thick. I mean, the driver's up here in the front, so that story that woman threw out there should have been blown away just on its face. And you know what? Here's what's interesting. It was. Her story went down faster than CBS and Dan Rather's attempted takedown of George Bush during the second term, when he came up with that some sort of faked paper from the Texas National Air Guard saying that Bush was really just kind of a layabout and he wouldn't be in it unless it was his father. That they tried to use to take down Bush, and it got taken apart in the media. The internet was just really coming about, and within an hour or two, the Texas Air National Guard story started falling apart. This went down even faster, and it came from some major media outlets like this one.
Let's bring in our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. And Pierre, the Secret Service has already issued a statement in response to Hutchinson's testimony.
Michael, good morning. That's right. That statement says that agents are prepared to give sworn testimony in relation to these new allegations. Two sources familiar with the investigation tell me that when President Trump returned to his motorcade after giving that speech on January 6th, he requested that agents take him to the Capitol. Those sources told me that Robert Engel, one of the agents in the car, said something to the effect of that being unwise or dangerous, and that the motorcade was going to return the president to the White House. A source close to the Secret Service tells me that President Trump was apparently not happy with that answer, but the agents in the car would push back against any allegation of an assault by President Trump and the allegation that he reached for the street.
All right, so as you can see the video of the limo, and the president sits way in the back, and it's, again, he's separated completely in his own compartment away from the driver. It's impossible for the man to jump, and grab and attack the driver and grab the steering wheel. And of course, we have the two agents willing to testify under oath. None of that happened. This lady's lying, and the Democrats who are trying to push her as this big savior that's going to take out Trump, it's just going to crash and burn again. But and also, news came out later that on January 7th, which one day after January 6th, she had gone to Mar-a-Lago to try and get some more work working under Trump, and was rejected. So she was fired. Trump's thing, he fires people, and I don't know, maybe that has something to do with her all of a sudden coming out and going, oh yeah, I remember that Trump, the guy I was just going to try and work for, attacked the driver, tried to choke him, but I wanted to work for him. Yeah, there's absolutely no motive for this woman other than finding the truth. It's just ridiculous. So I used to think the whole reasoning behind the January 6th pump up, just keeping this in the news all the time, was to distract people from what's going on in the economy. Because you can't censor empty shelves. You can't censor $7 gas. You can't censor things like that. You can censor COVID. You can censor questions about the 2020 trial, but those things that are in real life that are happening right in front of you, can't censor them. So you might be able to distract. And I used to think that was the reason why this whole January 6th trial hearing has been going on for, almost over a year now. But that's not it. I was listening to Glenn Greenwald, one of my favorite reporters, and he doesn't like Donald Trump, but he's fair. And again, I don't like hearing from people that I agree with all the time. I want to hear all sides, and I want to hear someone I believe is honest. Glenn Greenwald, very good reporter, is one of those people. And he confirmed what I've been reading for months after Donald Trump had left office. Mitch McConnell, what he had done was he heard that Trump, before he was going to leave, was going to pardon Eric Snowden and Julian Assange. The government hates those guys because they released information that the government didn't want out there, and I'm sure it caused a lot of doubt, and people lose their trust in government because of that, and they should. Julian Assange especially, I think he hurt Hillary Clinton and the bureaucracy of our glorious government couldn't stand that, so they hate his guts. So when Mitch McConnell heard that that was Trump's intention, was to pardon those guys from federal charges, he used and this is reported, and I read this, and again, it was Glenn Greenwald, sorry, I almost forgot his name, said this on an interview just a couple hours ago. He said I can't even speak. He said what's going on is McConnell heard that Trump was going to pardon Assange, so he threatened that if he does, he'll vote to have Trump actually removed from office, not just impeach, because impeachment is what the House does. They were going to impeach him anyway. But they had a majority, or at least they still had a majority of Republicans in the Senate, and if they voted for impeachment, then Trump would be removed from office and he couldn't serve again. So Trump went along with it, and McConnell got what he wanted. In fact, I think England has agreed to expedite Julian Assange to the United States, so God knows what's going to happen to the guy after that. But what it proved to me was both sides are using the power of impeachment not to remove a dangerous president or a criminal president, but to blackmail a president, and that's what it was done to do. It was used to blackmail him because they wanted a particular outcome. It didn't matter if he's guilty or not guilty. It's just do what we want you to do, or you'll be impeached. That's not how impeachment is supposed to be used. But the Uniparty, which is all of the Democrat Party and the top echelon of the Republican Party, they're crooks basically, and they'll use the power, and they'll use any which way they can control people. So that being the case, I think they are terrified of the possibility of Trump running and winning because look, Biden and Kamala are doing so bad. Anyone can run against them and win. And that is what they're terrified of. Because if Trump gets back in office, I think he's going to just, wreck. He's going to cause some serious damage. Because I think he'll have more support this time. He'll have more congressmen and on his side. Unlike last time he had Paul Ryan, who worked against him. I think he's going to have more support. And so he'll be able to uncover quite a bit more. And I think he's going to go with a little vengeance on his mind. Look, our government really needs purging. And that's why I think they're terrified of Trump. And so the trial, the hearing, is really about getting an indictment on Trump so he can't run again. They don't care about whether we know gas prices are high or there's no baby formula. They can care less about that. What they're terrified of is Trump getting back in office. And Biden makes that more and more likely every freaking day. I mean, he's gone from reading notes that tell him what to say. Now his latest notes are telling him what to do. By 2023, he's going to have notes that are just telling him don't crap your pants and, don't take any questions. So he's easily beatable, I think. And again, this whole thing is just to stop Trump. All bets are off. They'll do whatever they need to do to stop him because he could do the most damage to them. Now, they're taking a chance because if they indict Trump, they're going to almost guarantee to get 2 years of DeSantis. But I think they're willing to take that risk because the worse Biden performs, the more likely Trump will be indicted. But hey, that is my take on this. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe.